25% off to see a once-in-a-century kiss my ass.
The answers come from one place and one
Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass.
The current era of WWE is starting to feel messy, and maybe it's the constant shift in power. TKO on one side, WWE Creative on the other. Or maybe it's just bad booking. But as once a legend said,
life sucks and then you die.
so in this video, we are breaking down 10 things WWE needs to fix in the current era. And if you have got your own ideas, drop them in the comments. Now, let's hit the spear. After WrestleMania 40, things haven't exactly been in WWE's favor. On paper, everything looks strong. A stacked roster, multiple brands, and some of the biggest names in the industry. But when you actually watch the product, something falls off. There's a growing concern among fans that the involvement of TKO is starting to affect WWE's creative direction. Stories feels inconsistent. Some rivalries don't even reach their full potential. And at times, it feels like there is no clear direction. And that's the frustrating part, because WWE has everything it needs to succeed. Raw is loaded, SmackDown is stacked, and even NXT is producing incredible talents. So, the problem isn't the roster, the problem is how it's been used. And fans have been noticing this for a while now. Across social media, across the IWC, the same complaints keeps coming again and again. At its core, WWE has never been about just matches. It's about stories. Stone Cold vs. The Rock wasn't just a match, it was a clash of personalities. Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30 wasn't just a match, it was a journey. And that's the difference. Today's too many storylines feels rushed, or worse, completely directionless. Feuds start but don't evolve. Rivalries build but don't peak. And sometimes they just end without meaning anything. Because if the story doesn't matter, the match won't either. Long-term storytelling, clear character motivations, and payoffs that actually feels earned. Because when WWE gets storytelling right, everything else falls into place. And until that becomes the focus again, no amount of star power or big events will truly fix the product. WWE has always worked best when its creative direction feels clear, when stories are built with purpose and decision actually make sense. But recently, there's been a growing concern among fans that WWE's creative process is no longer fully in its own hands. With TKO now involved, it feels like business decisions are starting to bleed into storytelling. And you can see it. Certain moments feels forced. Some appearance feels out of place. And at times, it feels like names are being inserted. Not because the story needs them, but because the moment does. And that's where the problem begins. Because wrestling doesn't work like that. You can't just place a celebrity into a match without building a reason for it. Without context, without connection, and without purpose. Because when that's happened, the story breaks. And once the story breaks, the audience stops believing. Creative outfit can be impactful when creative decisions stay in the hand of the people who understand the story. Well, there's an entire generation of superstars ready to take over. Names like Obafemi, Javon Evans, Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, Dominic Mysterio, and Braun Breaker. These aren't just future prospects. These are potential main event players. They have the charisma, they have the presence, and most importantly, they have the connection with the audience. But here's the issue. They are not being positioned like stars yet. They show flashes, they get moments, but they don't get consistency. And without consistency, momentum dies. Think about the ruthless aggression era. John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista. They weren't just introduced, they were pushed, built, and trusted. That's what creates an era. And WWE has the same opportunity again. Because if this new generation is handled properly, if they are given a real stories, real rivalries, and real importance, This could become Ruthless Aggression 2.0, but only if WWE commits, because the future is already there. The question is, will WWE actually let it shine? Well, there was a time when WWE's tag team division wasn't just relevant, it was essential. Teams were just thrown together, they were built, defined, and remembered. The Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, these weren't just teams. Every match felt important, and every rivalry had their own meaning, and every team had their own identity. But today, the same division feels lost. And that's surprising because WWE doesn't lack talent. There are still strong teams, but the problem is teams are formed, then forgotten. Championship change hands without building any real story, and rivalry rarely go deep enough to make fans care. And that's where everything breaks down, because tag team division wrestling works best when there is a consistency, when teams stay together, when the stories actually develop over time. WWE already has the pieces, what it needs is commitment, because if the tag team division is treated seriously again, it won't just add depth to the product, it will elevate the entire show. WWE used to be full of characters. We all have experienced that. Not just wrestlers, superstars who felt different, looked different, and most importantly, acted different. Goldust, the Boogeyman, the Hurricane. These weren't safe ideas, they were risks. But that's what made them memorable. You didn't just watch their matches, you remember their presence. They stood out, they felt unique, and they gave WWE something extra personality. But today, that kind of creativity feels rare. Most superstars play it safe, more grounded, more realistic, and while that works, it also makes everything feel similar, because when everyone feels the same, no one truly stands out. And that's where a gimmick matters. Not just creating them, but sustaining them, building them over time, letting them evolve, because when a gimmick is done right, it becomes iconic. Even today, you can see glimpse of that. Danhausen is a perfect example, different, unusual, and instantly recognizable, which proves one thing, gimmick still works. WWE just need more of them, because at the end of the day, characters create connection, and connection creates superstars. There was a time when Money in the Bank meant something. It wasn't just a contract, it was an opportunity, a moment that could change a career in a single night. Edge used it to become the ultimate opportunist. CM Punk turned it into a statement. MITB wasn't predictable, it was dangerous. You never knew when it would happen, you never knew who it would happen to. And that's unpredictable, made it special. But in recent years, that magic has faded. The briefcase doesn't feel as important anymore. Some cashes in feel rushed, some feels forced, and some just don't land the way they used to. And when that happens, the credibility drops, because MITB only works when it feels like a real game changer, not just a moment, but a turning point. It should elevate someone new or completely redefine someone's character. It should feel risky, strategic, unpredictable, because that's what made it great in the first place. Okay, that's my favorite point. There was a time when WWE pay-per-views had its own identity. Backlash felt different. No Mercy had its own vibe. Armageddon, Judgment Day. These were just names. They meant something. Each event had a theme, a feeling, a reason to care. But today, a lot of that identities feel same. Many shows are almost similar. Different names, but the same experience. And that's where WWE is missing an opportunity. Because those classic pay-per-views, they already have value. They already have history. They already have fan connection. So instead of letting them stay in past, bring them back. But not just for nostalgia, bring them back and let the new stars elevate them. Let the new star create new moments under those legendary names. Because imagine a rising superstar defining their career at the revived Backlash, or a new rivalry becoming iconic at Armageddon. That's how you connect generation. You take the legacy of the past and give it to the future. Bringing back classic pay-per-views might be the easiest way to make the product feel special again. Which pay-per-view you like to see again, write in the comments. WWE isn't just a company anymore, it's a global brand. Fans aren't just in United States, they are in France, England, Italy, and all over the world. And recently, we have seen what happens when WWE taps into that energy. International crowd hits different. They are louder, more passionate, more invested. They don't just watch the show, they become part of it. And that's exactly why WWE need to go bigger. Not just smaller events, but the bigger ones. Imagine a SummerSlam in London, a major PLE in France, or even WrestleMania on an international stage. Because the demand is there, the fans are ready, and the atmosphere, it would be unmatchable. And this just about expansion, it's about making every fan feel included, making the product feel trustable again. Because when WWE step outside its comfort zone, the entire product feels fresh again. New crowd, new energy, new moment, and sometimes that's exactly what WWE needs. Watching WWE today sometimes feels more distracting than engaging, not because of the wrestling, but because of the everything around it. Sponsor logo on the ring, graphic popping up constantly, ads breaking the flow. It pulls you out of the moment, and that's the problem because wrestling works best when you're fully immersed, when a match is building tension. The last thing you need is a random distraction, and it's not just ad, overproduction, camera cuts, too many visual effects. It starts to feel overwhelming. WWE doesn't need to remove everything, but it needs to control it because when the presentation is clear, the product feels better, the match feels bigger, the moment feels stronger, and the audience stays connected. WWE isn't broken, but it's not at its best either because right now it has everything it needs: a stacked roster, global reach, and endless potential. But potential means nothing if it's not used in the right way. These aren't major changes, they are simple fixes. Fix the stories, trust the talent, respect the moments, and WWE can easily become what it once was. So, the real question is, will WWE actually listen this time? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And tell me in the comments what would you like to fix in WWE right now. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep wrestling!